Well, hello there. I'm here to tell you that you've probably, I'd bet money on it, have been dieting wrong. Do you know whether or not you've been dieting wrong? That's fine. I will tell you how and why you've been dieting wrong and wasting who knows how much of your time and energy doing it. All right, I'm going to talk about why you should be focusing on maintenance first. That is like the number one most important thing that everyone that is trying to change their body composition, that's gaining muscle and or losing fat, they skip right over this, the most important step of every plan, every diet plan, every body recomposition attempt. If you are skipping your maintenance point or finding what your BMR is, you're wasting your time. Most people want to skip straight to the fun part, right? They want to go straight to the adjustment. They want to go cutting out calories, upping their energy expenditure, and getting straight down to business so that they can see those results. And I want to tell you what, in the end, that is what's destroying your results. That's what's holding you back. That's what's keeping you from getting where you've been trying to go for so long. And let me tell you why. Because you know I will. Without knowing where your maintenance point is, your deficit or your surplus will eventually fall flat. I want to say your surplus less so, because you can do a lot less wrong with a surplus. You know, if you eat anything over, you're doing fine with a surplus. But with a deficit, it's much more delicate, especially with us ladies, right? Trying to find a safe deficit that's not going to put your body into a state of stress and just want to hang on to all of the water and fat and everything that you're trying to lose, that takes a bit more finesse. That takes a bit more education and talent. That's hitting what I call your nutritional sweet spot. That takes time, practice, and knowledge. That one doesn't usually come naturally for most people because it's kind of a small window, right? I mean, if it wasn't, so many of us wouldn't have struggled so hard to find it, right? That's the thing. The reason why the lack of your maintenance point or your basal metabolic rate, not knowing where that is, how that lies, what the ballpark, is because it'll all eventually fall flat. We have a tendency to make too big of adjustments too often. And if you continue to do that over a period of time, eventually you're going to run out of food. You're going to run out of energy. You're going to start encountering heightened hunger cues, heightened cravings, and start fighting against your body. And let's be honest, that's a losing battle because, you know, your body's kind of like that person that's, they own the house, okay? Your body is the home that your soul resides in while it's here on this planet, and if you are in constant disagreement with your body, good luck. Because it's just going to be a nightmare. It's like living next door to your neighbors who have tried to sue you multiple times. It's just stressful. It doesn't need to be that way. So that is why we look for your maintenance point. What the maintenance point is, I think I've done a video on it. But just a general outline of what the maintenance is where you can eat this same amount of food and not gain or lose weight. Using the same amount of energy that you are, eating the same amount of food that you are, you will stay the same. That's your maintenance point. You could eat that much food and gain muscle and lose fat, but stay at the same scale point. That's maintenance, okay? Maintenance is the most important part of your deficit because your adjustment window is so tiny. Most people make too big, or I don't know if I've ever seen anybody make too small of an adjustment, but they make too big of an adjustment, or maybe they just eat too much and then they don't actually fall within that deficit window when they think they are. I would say that's probably one of the biggest issues with not tracking your food, not watching your diet. Okay, because that's what it is. Your diet is what you eat every day. It's not some named fad thing that you found on the internet that you started trying to follow one day. No, your diet is what you eat right now without restriction, naturally, what your body wants, what you crave, what your hunger cues are. That is your diet. And that diet should be your friend. But without your maintenance point, that diet very easily and quickly becomes the enemy. Because then you're fighting against your body in terms of how much money you think you should be eating and how much money it thinks you should be eating. You got to come to an agreement. That's where the nutritional sweet spot comes in. Number one, you won't know when you've actually plateaued. I think a lot of ladies especially have this tendency to think that they've plateaued so often that they start making extra adjustments. Not only are you making too big of adjustments, but your adjustments are happening too often, and eventually you corner yourself. As I was saying before, having your maintenance point, sitting there for a little while, and getting comfortable there, becoming more familiar with each other, sitting down, having a cup of tea, not like fighting or anything. It's important. You want to build a relationship with your body that you can handle. It gives you and your body a chance to adjust. You can come to an agreement. You learn how to coexist. You learn how to balance out those hunger cues, those cravings, and therefore, in the long run, less stress, less tendency to binge, less tendency to feel guilt out of not hitting your targets, because that way you know where your safe spot is, because you'll be able to keep track of things like the scale and your measurements and see in pictures that you are remaining relatively consistent. It is trackable. You can keep that main area. From that point where you see that you are maintaining, you can then make your adjustment. So what you've done is pinpointed where you are on the map, and then you can map your journey from there. Instead of just like saying, we're just going to go left and then right, and we're going to keep going another mile, and then, we're going to turn back around and try something else because that didn't work. Oh, it's too dark over here. I can't go that way. We don't want to be lost all the time. We need a very specific roadmap, and that requires a maintenance point. All right? You will eventually make yourself absolutely miserable guessing whether or not you are hitting that nutritional sweet spot. And you'll know very quickly that you're not, based off of your hunger and cravings that keep hitting you. And you just won't know. You won't feel secure. If you hit your maintenance and then you make an adjustment and you stick with it and you get better at it over time, you are going to know that you're on the right track. You will. It's a whole nother world of reassurance and understanding that you might not have had before. So, dare I say, take a couple weeks to get comfortable in your maintenance point, understanding your basal metabolic rate before you start taking the next steps. I know it is so hard and so tempting to just dive right in and try to see results, but I'm telling you, in the long run, if you want long-term, sustainable, predictable results that you can hang on to and feel proud of and not be afraid of losing 2 days later, you want to start with your maintenance. Okay? So, track your food, figure out where you are, how much activity you've been doing, and do that for at least a week or two. Give your body time to adjust, adapt, and level off before you start making some tweaks. All right? So, thank you for attending my TED Talk on my couch here. And I will catch you next time.